Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about no buy / low buy tips if you are looking to rein in the spending, break that cycle. I am going to share with you the things that I always lean on when I'm trying to kind of like just reduce my spending a little bit, or if I'm trying to save money. Money is really emotional for a lot of people, and there will be people that when you tell them you're on a no buy, you tell them that you can't do this or you can't do that because you're actually trying to save money, can be super judgmental. Because for the majority of people who can manage their money in a normal adult way, they can't understand why you can't. They can't understand why you compulsively spend money, or why it might be difficult for you to stop spending when you have no money left. I like to compare it to smoking because that's something that everyone is familiar with. When I was a teenager, I didn't take up smoking, but I did get a credit card, and that spiraled me in a different direction. It might not be as physically unhealthy for me, but it can really do a number on your mental health, especially if you allow it to get to a stage where you're like, I didn't think I was ever going to have to pay this money back, and now I do, and I don't have it. I was in debt my entire adult life, and come 2020, when we weren't going anywhere, we weren't doing anything, I thought, okay, enough is enough. This is the time to sort yourself out. I got myself out of debt. I created a lot of content on budgeting and saving money at the time. And I just thought, since it's January and there'll probably be a lot of you who are maybe thinking about some financial stuff, I would share some of the tips that I shared there, consolidate some of the stuff just so you can see it all in one video, and also let you know some of the stuff that I still do go back to when I find myself in those old patterns. First of all, you have to identify where your little weak spots are, because they might not be where you think that they are. If you've got a budget laid out and you're like, this is how much money I earn per month, this is how much my bills are, why have I got no money at the end of the month? I don't feel like I spend a lot, I'm not very extravagant. You're probably like me, because I can go a really long time without being excited about clothes. Like, if you say I can't buy any clothes this year, I'd be kind of fine with that. I've got wardrobes of clothes. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not massively excited about new clothes. Maybe shoes and bags from time to time, but not massively. You know, it wouldn't feel like a huge hardship. If you told me I couldn't buy any new makeup, even, and I know I get PR samples and that is always an issue, but no new makeup for 12 months, I think I could do it. I might miss that a little bit more because it's fun, but I think I could do it. My spending adds up from little things here, there, and everywhere. It's mostly supermarkets and Amazon. I would say supermarkets, impulse buys, Amazon, convenience buys. Let me give you an example of something completely ridiculous that I did around Christmas time. Because most of the time, especially Amazon, I'll be in the house and I find a problem. And money can solve that problem like that. Especially with Amazon, it can solve that problem tomorrow. I am doing something and I'm like, oh, this pen doesn't work. Do you know what's easier than looking for a pen that works? Ordering a new set of pens. I didn't do that, but that's just an example. What I did do is I had bought a massive pack of batteries before Christmas for lights and things in the house, for potentially toys the kids would get, stuff we might need, just a massive pack of AA batteries. I opened the package, I put it somewhere, I don't know where I put it. The next time I needed batteries, I ordered more from Amazon. I didn't even look for the batteries that I'd ordered. I was like, oh, I don't know where I've put them. I'll just order some more. It was easier to, from where I was sitting and needed the batteries, order more batteries from Amazon than it was to just go and have a look for the batteries that I'd ordered, because I just decided I couldn't find them. I didn't even look. But I also didn't think anything of doing that because batteries didn't feel like a luxury item. It didn't feel like an extravagance. It didn't feel like, oh, I don't know, I should really contemplate buying these batteries. It was like £7. It didn't feel like, they were a lot of batteries, just to clear, for £7. It was a lot of batteries, but that's not the point. It didn't feel like a lot of money. A pack of pens doesn't feel like a lot of money. A face mask doesn't feel like a lot of money. A takeaway doesn't feel like a lot of money. If you add it all up, it can be a lot of money. It's basically your entire disposable income, and that's where it's going. My number one tip for money saving, especially if you haven't identified where your money is going yet, is write everything down. Total ball ache, I know, but it works. On your notes app on your phone, or on a notebook, whatever you want to do, but usually somewhere that you've got with you all the time, because it could be anywhere that you could be spending this money. Every single time you go to spend some money, this has to be every single time, not just when you consider it to be shopping. Write down what you've just spent. Petrol, a sandwich, every single thing. It has to be recorded, because you will be shocked. Some banking apps now do have, I know with mine, it has like a pie chart, and it'll tell you where your largest retailers are that you're spending money. Amazon, Just Eat, horrific, don't want to know how much I'll spend at Just Eat. Like, I work from home now, so there's no like walking out to a local cafe or something, or going to the canteen at lunchtime. If I want something that's not in the house, I just eat it, and I just eat it. I have it delivered, and I spend so much money on Just Eat, it's actually horrific. So in January, I am cutting myself off from specific things, and any kind of takeaway is one of them. That is absolutely a cycle that I get into. It's a pattern of behaviour. Takeaways, Amazon, Tesco, any kind of supermarkets really. But they are my absolute top things. They are where I spend most of my money. Not the largest amounts of money, but overall, the largest amount of money goes to those 3 places. So you've identified where your weak spots are. I've identified where mine are. The next thing that I would recommend that you do is, if you are absolutely doing a no-buy, then every single time you go to spend money, let's say I'm sitting at my desk at work and I'm like, oh, I really want a Greggs. I go, I look at what I'm going to buy, and then I don't buy it, and I write that amount of money down, and I write, Greggs, £8 for a flipping pasty and a drink, because that's insane. I write it down, and at the end of the month, I work out how much money I've saved by not buying all of those things that I wouldn't have even thought twice about. If you want to take that to the next level, which I often have, because this is a great way of saving money, because you've got that, but the money is still in your account, so maybe you'll spend it, maybe you won't. Actually go onto your online banking and transfer that exact amount of money into a separate account. So at the end of the month, not only have you got that list of this is how much money I was gonna spend in these ridiculous ways, which of course you've also got a list, you can look at that again and be like, do I still want these things? At the end of the month, if you still want those things, you can buy them. You've also transferred that amount of money into a separate account, if you have a separate account to do that. Also, you can take cash out and hide it somewhere. I used to do that all the time. If I went to get, I mean, I don't use cash so much anymore, but every time I took out money for our childminder or to pay for whatever it was I was paying for in cash every week, I would get like another £10 out and just hide it. And then at the end of the year, I had like a stash of cash. Not smart to keep cash in the house, but I'm just saying, if you are someone who does struggle to save like I do, sneaky saving, even sneaky from yourself, out of sight, out of mind, really, really works. Let's say you've got that money in that other account. That's money that you've saved. And sometimes it adds up to so much money you can't even believe it. If you go back and work out how much money you have spent on takeaway in 2021, if you're anything like me, it's upsetting, because it's money that if you had that money in your account and one thing cost that amount of money, you wouldn't have spent it. You would, like, I will really hem and haw about things for so long, like, oh, that's £50, I don't know. Oh, but I could spend £50 in 2 takeaways and don't even consider buying the 2 takeaways. So we're on board with that. Now let's talk about what might be a trigger, what might be maybe pushing you to spend more money than you maybe want to spend. I know that the outside influences around me definitely play a part in how much money I want to spend. I'll give you a weird example. We went to, a few years ago, we went to California and we went to Vegas with the kids. And I always feel like, you know, you have to have a certain amount of money to spend on holiday. Maybe you feel like, it's not really the same unless I can spend some money. I never, at any point during the entire time we were in California, felt like I wanted to go shopping, felt like I wanted to spend money. Didn't have that feel at all. As soon as we got to Las Vegas, I felt like I didn't have enough money. Like, I felt like it was a shopping town. Felt like it was like I needed to have some money to spend. This weird thing. It was like an energy around me. And that is a great example of how I feel when I'm watching certain shows, when I am on certain people's Instagram, when I'm watching certain people on YouTube. I just have like it's a trigger. Something in me that says, I need to spend some money. I need to, And so just be aware of everything that's around you, everything that you are surrounding yourself with. There'll be certain TV shows where I find myself every episode being like, ooh, where's that dress from? Ooh, I really like this. Ooh, I wonder if I can find a dupe for this. And others, let's say, for example, The Vampire Diaries, where I very, very rarely think of shopping. I love a fantasy realm because it never really makes me think, like, I wonder if she got that from Topshop. I wonder if I could find whatever. Everything's super basic because the story is the thing. It's not really about the clothes or the bags or the shoes or the whatever. None of that makes me want to spend money. And so just kind of try and identify what it is around you that you might kind of come into contact with or you might be surrounded by that makes you open up Amazon or open up ASOS or open up whatever it is. It goes without saying that you should probably go ahead and unsubscribe from all those mailing lists, from all the shops that you love, because they're going to send you this sale and that sale. And if they say buy one, get one free, then you're online and then you're like, well, I need buy one, get one free. And then I need to spend enough money to not pay for shipping, because that's crazy. So I'll pay twice as much money for different things so that I don't have to pay for shipping. And beyond that, it's such a time suck, because if you're online shopping and you're not even really specifically looking for something, you're looking kind of like to spend more money so you don't have to pay shipping or to get a certain deal. I spend so much time looking for things that I don't really even want just to get those deals. It's nuts. It really, really is. And if you, again, take stock of your shopping behaviours, it might help you break some of those habits. My camera battery just died, and my first thought was, I probably should have a second one, because it just makes sense to have a backup camera battery. Now, yes, of course it does, but I don't need it, because if I was just a little better prepared and organised, I could just use the one camera battery. But you see, money solves all of the problems. The final thing I want to cover is hobby shoppers, because maybe you go at the weekend and you have lunch and you go to the shops and that's what you do. Maybe of an evening you're watching TV and you're browsing and you're filling up your cart with like imaginary things you'll never buy. Fine, completely fine, but you don't have to actually check out that cart. You don't have to actually buy anything when you're at the shops. You can just browse. This was why I created Come Shop With Me videos, because years and years ago I used to spend so much money buying things to make videos, buying things to haul, because people love to haul video. And I thought, this is crazy. I'm going to find another way of doing it. And I'm yet to find someone who made one of these videos before I did, but lots of people have claimed to have created the Come Shop With Me format. Just saying. I did it for myself because I didn't want to continue to shop and spend money for absolutely no reason just to make content on things that I didn't need. It felt wasteful, obviously, but also just completely unnecessary in terms of spending. So I, for one, know that you can go to the shops, you can browse, you can be interested in things and be like, oh my God, I really love that jumper, without buying it. You can still get the thrill of shopping without actually spending. And if you do like to go to the shops physically, if you are actually looking for something and you want to spend some money, cannot recommend highly enough trying everything on before you actually leave the shop. Obviously, in COVID times, this has been a little bit trickier, and I personally haven't felt comfortable going back to the changing rooms since the pandemic began. But pre-pandemic, and if you're watching this in the future, perhaps when there may possibly be a COVID-free time, I absolutely would follow this rule. I would not buy anything unless I'd tried it on, because that saved me so much money. How much have you bought, whether it be online or in real life, and you've got it home, you don't love it, but you've never returned it, and then it's been gifted to someone, or it's been put in the charity bin, where that's happened to me so many times, it's shameful. Again, it's all about recognising behaviours and patterns and trying to rein yourself in and break those as and when you see yourself kind of falling down a hole again. It happens to me from time to time. I recognise, oh, you're in a bit of a way at the moment, like, I get super, super stressed out about things, and I do DIY. I decide that I need to redo a room, or I decide to, that's all money. It still feels like a positive, productive outlet for my stress, but it is still spending money. It's just kind of like a secret hidden way of spending money, because I'm not going out and buying a sofa, I'm buying materials or paint or whatever it might be. And I'm like, well, that doesn't count because it's not spending and I'm not buying something for myself, but it is. It's still money, it still adds up, and often I've done projects that I've thought, oh, it'll just be £20 for a can of paint, and I'm like £150 in the hole for this little project because I didn't know when to stop myself, and I didn't know when to say, hey, this isn't really about this, maybe deal with the problem that you're dealing with instead of trying to spend your way out of it. A lot of us who do have problems managing money, it does stem from kind of emotional stuff or things that we're not actually dealing with, and we're kind of like pushing that onto spending. And that is something to maybe deal with separately, but just putting it out there, if you're an emotional spender like me, something to maybe look at, something to maybe assess in 2022. But that is it for today's video. Hopefully some of those tips have been useful for those of you who feel a little like me, like, maybe I should have sorted this out by now. You know, every day, it's a process. You just have to acknowledge this is maybe something that you're always going to struggle with. Other people have other struggles. Maybe people don't understand yours. But as long as you are on the right path and you acknowledge that this is something that you want to work on for yourself, that is the most important thing. I will link below some other content like this that I've done that might be useful for you. I'm not going to do kind of monthly budgets or anything this year. I just wanted to put something out with some of my favorite tips and just really something to say you're not alone in having this issue and not to be embarrassed, because if you are watching this, then you've decided that you want to kind of take a little bit of control back and you want to fix what might feel like a problem in your life. So well done, congratulations, best of luck, and happy 2022.